Hi Libra, here is a general look at your solar chart for June 2012. Now you've entered a more adventurous, expansive vibration which tends to encourage more opportunity to take your mind off the small stuff, get the overview, take a break, get away from the normal routines. So some of you may have itchy feet, and with increased opportunities to escape the daily grind, you should take advantage of this, because if you get away from it all, that does help you to get things in perspective. Now there's other ways of getting away from it all than actually traveling, so you need to be perhaps plunging into an environment which just takes you a bit further away from takes you a bit further out of the box that we all of us are used to being in. So during this period, the energies support projects, enterprises, plans, ideas, and you get more enthusiastic, you get keener about launching into a project, which might involve research, might involve getting your head around things, but tends to teach you a lot as you strive to get the overview, join up the dots, get the overview. So it could be a good time to travel, to connect with people from foreign lands, but also it could be a good time to plunge into an environment where there are the sorts of people or beings who come from a very, very different mindset to you, a very different cultural background, just a very, very different to you in their views. It also could be a good moment for you to test the waters, try to float something, like putting the word out on something, or indeed, if you were traveling, maybe you are on a boat. Anyway, sort of floating an idea or putting the word out about something, or in fact, letting people across a wider stage know, share your knowledge with people across a wider stage. However it is for you, anyway, you're more likely to access a place outwardly or inwardly where you can zoom out and refresh your mind and spirit. Also, some of you may be having more connection with the legal profession, whether it's a very fleeting, brief one or whether it's a longer term one. But it tends to have a good vibe around it, because due to the long transit of Venus, and Venus is your ruling planet, they could be, if it is to do with the legal profession, which is kind of on the list of possibilities, a relatively minor one with this position of the Sun and Venus, but if it is, then it would tend to be a positive experience, or at least, one gets out of it relatively unscathed. Anyway, due to the long transit of Venus, places and faces at a distance may seem much more appealing to you than usual, and a personal or professional relationship could be centered around travel or a foreign culture or an academic or advice-giving environment or a legal type environment. Someone you connect with can give you the eagle eye view and be the facilitator for you, or the teacher for you, but equally you may be looked upon as the information giver or guide or teacher yourself, the supplier of information yourself. And long distance relationships, like love relationships, are quite well starred with this one here. Also highlighted are maybe larger publications, academia, education, and this position of Venus could encourage an area of interest where you're learning something, but it's in a really friendly way, and you have very positive experiences, and which benefit you emotionally, but also possibly materially. And Jupiter will enter this area on the 12th for a 12 months transit, and you will be expanding perhaps into new academic areas or physical areas over this time. So that is a real plus, because Jupiter could potentially bring lots of learning through this area, which basically is to do with learning and pushing the envelope and getting into plunging into very unusual alien environments. And also there's going to be a lunar eclipse here too, on the 4th, which tends to trigger new beginnings in that area also over the subsequent month. So all very interesting for you, Libra, at the moment. And you have got an awful lot of Saturn and Pluto happening across your sign, and Uranus actually as well at the moment. So this is a very expansive, rather upbeat sort of energy. Now, until the 7th, Mercury is giving you the urge to cast your nets wider and pull in information or contacts from further afield, researching something or exchanging with those who have an area of expertise, or can give you a very different slant on things. So very much you are there maybe learning stuff, so more of what I said before really, but in a quite a friendly sort of a way because of the position of Venus. And this is a good moment for you to beat the drum on something, let others know what you wish to share with your own knowledge, and you may be communicating more, perhaps using a different kind of jargon or language at this time, and you could have more contact also with teachers or guides. There could be spiritual guides or advisors. And as I say, some of you may be having to deal more with the legal side of things at this time too. And then from the 7th to the 26th, discussions, correspondence and ideas may be centered around where you are going from here in life. And you might be feeling a bit under the spotlight. You need to show competency, you need to show responsibility, you need to show, take a firm line. Also another way it can be is that you have to have more involvement with red tape, officials, hierarchy. It can be like that, but also those who might facilitate your aims are also highlighted. You may find your goals and schemes are being validated or rejected according to the way things are unfolding, and that's the way we learn. And you will be inclined to put mental effort into expressing yourself in the best way you can, and maybe really even getting quite stretched there as well. Vehicles, transport, travel, communications, all of that may be emphasized, and getting your head around new stuff. And then from the 26th, Mercury will put the mental focus upon furthering your aims through your club, your group, your contacts, your new acquaintanceships, your old friendships, your new friendships, just a group involvement and being with a collective, and that can be in person or over the wires. So it won't be what you know, but who you know, but it's very future orientated and progressive, and it could have you thinking along very new and unusual lines. Now Mars continues in a very background area of your solar chart, just one more month. It comes out of there in the first week of July, and over this time you've been very much, the humble servant at times, maybe beavering away preparing something in the background. You could have been and still are playing a supportive role for others some of the time, or maybe hopefully you've been setting your boundaries in place and resting, recuperating because you've been healing. Perhaps that's how it's been for some of you. So this transit encourages more awareness of self, more awareness of the subtler aspects of your life here on Earth. Your emotions, you would have been more sensitive at this time. There could have been a lot going on inside of you. Also, there could have been a lot going on within a bubble, an environment where you and others were working in some way towards a common cause. And perhaps that turbulence inside of you wouldn't have been noticed by others. You could have felt lent on by others more, but also equally, maybe, you've had to lean on others yourself. The unconscious, your imagination, your touching in base with higher self, your dream life, working with the law of attraction to shape a future which suits you better, that's a powerful tool. You could have been working very well with that at the moment, Libra, and you should be very protective of yourself in going for things which are nurturing as far as you possibly can, because at times you would have felt your style very much being cramped, and so whenever you could and whenever you still can, chill out and let others take the strain. it would be easy to spread yourself too thin with physical demands, as your vitality tends to be a bit lower with Mars here, but it's only got this, as I say, it comes out in July, and then it will be all systems go for you, Libra. But however it is for you, just be firm about, putting the boundaries in place, taking the space for yourself whenever you can, letting go and letting others take the strain. And as I say, you can have strong dreams and visions at this time. Some of you might be getting interested in healing practices, and also getting into meditation, yoga, clairvoyance, healing, psychic work, anything which takes you out of yourself, absorbs you and takes you out of yourself, like reading, writing a page-turning novel. Now that would be good. Emotions, some frustrations may be near the surface, and knee-jerk reactions become more likely. So this is a time you should be aware that you could be your own worst enemy, Libra, still, even though it's got a month left to run, that you could, shoot yourself in the foot and just scupper yourself completely because you made an inappropriate response, you've made an inappropriate reaction. But that's a lesson. This is a karmic house that Mars has been in for this long time. So it's for you to sort this one out, and I'm sure you will. And this has been a very long transit, but you've still got plenty of time to utilize the secret power and pull strings from the background, and by understanding, the subtler energies, the subtle way the world really works, the matrix upon which it's based, and create what you wish to come true in your future. That would be the best way I can think of to use the Mars energy where it is. Now, from the 21st, you will be taking your worldly responsibilities more seriously. So a little bit more of what I was saying about where Mercury is going to be. And that's it for June. This has been about the faster moving inner planets, but if you go to my website, if you're not there already, you'll see what's written about the slower moving outer planets, and all of this that I've just been saying is set against that background. And as I say, you've got an awful lot going on with Saturn, so pay attention to that. Pluto, pay attention to that, and Uranus, pay attention to that. And I will have put the dates on there for which part of the sign they are all affecting. And also you might like to find the forecast for your rising sign or your moon sign, because you can piece it all together and make something out of it which makes sense to you, and it'll add to or subtract from what I said here. And I will see you the next time.